Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. This is an artificial background that you have created.
Yes, sir, this is a virtual background, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. Where are you now from? Where are you connecting from?
Sir, I'm connecting from New Delhi. However, I
Hello.
live in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, sir.
New Delhi. Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. So you are an engineer from IIT. You have gone to Montessori school. You are a chemical engineer. You have interest in international relations, reflective writing. Okay, what
Yes.
is reflective writing, and what is the best reflective writing you have done so far?
Sir, reflective writing is a form of self-exploration or introspection. Sir, in this, I like to write upon ideas or themes and connect them with events in my real life, sir. So, sir, one of the best writings that I wrote on was about everything happens for a reason. So I read this interesting quote, and I thought that how I can relate this with my events. So, sir, I reflected on my joining the national service scheme during graduation, or even the last 3 years of the civil service exam preparation, sir, which have immensely helped me not just in knowledge but also improve my communication skills and confidence, sir.
Good.
Thank
Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
you. Yes.
So we have been hearing this for a very long time. How do
Yes.
you place this in contemporary international diplomacy?
Sir, Vasudev Kutumbakam is refers to the idea that the world is one family, and so this is being actively promoted by in India's foreign policy also. Sir, to place it in the global diplomacy, we can see the initiatives like Vaccine Maitri, where we delivered COVID vaccines to countries across the world. And even though we had the COVID situation in our own country, but still we tried to balance with the global interests also. So similarly, the initiative of Vande Bharat mission that was undertaken, or the evacuation operations under the Operation Devi Shakti, Operation Ganga, which have been undertaken by India, sir, for not just for Indian citizens, sir, but also for people who are in our neighborhood uh, countries which cannot take up these operations on their own, but to help the overall world, sir. Sir,
Okay. Yeah, okay. But I think the most important thing is it is also the theme of India's G20
yes,
presidency.
yes,
So you can start with that and add to all. Whatever you said is relevant, but I think you have to start with, I believe that you have to start with G20 presidency.
right.
So then again, coming to multilateralism, do you think multilateralism is relevant in today's world?
Yes,
Why?
sir. I
Why
think
not?
given the current challenges, such as the challenge of climate change or terrorism, or to fight the global pandemic, multilateralism is relevant in the present world more than ever before. However, it is facing the challenge of its institutions not being relevant for the current time. So while multilateralism as a concept is relevant, but the institutions like the United Nations or the World Trade Organization, even the World Bank and IMF, that these need to reform in lines of the multipolar world of the 21st century to uh, to implement the idea of multilateralism, sir.
Okay. Do you think India should be in the Security Council? If your answer is yes, how do you think we can achieve that objective?
Sir, I think India should definitely be a member of the UN Security Council, given our large population of almost 1.4 billion, and our reputation of being a bridge as a bridge player between the P3 and the P2. I think India should definitely be there. Sir, India is already taking a number of steps to achieve the reforms of the UN Security Council, especially among the G4 countries, which includes Japan, Germany, India, and Brazil. Sir, apart from that, there is also an intergovernment negotiation that is currently undergoing, and even during the as a member of UNSC in the last 2 years, India has kept this agenda on its presidency also to
Okay.
promote reforms.
Okay. One suggestion is that we should say we should claim or we are instead of India has a large population, we should say that we are the largest democracy. So being the largest democracy and not being part of the Security Council is an irony. So we have to somewhere place that we actually deserve this. We are entitled to it. Fine. Okay, now multilateral diplomacy, you have spoken about it. Coming to minilateralism,
Yes,
do you have an idea of what minilateralism is?
yes, sir.
And
Minilateral.
what would be the best example that you would like to cite?
Sir, the Quadrilateral Security Group, or the Quad, among four countries of US, Japan, Australia, and India. I think that would be the best example of minilateralism, because the minilateralism allows a small grouping of three or four countries which are comfortable and they have a convergence of ideas on a particular issue to come together and to set the agenda and bring it forward.
Okay. So what has Quad achieved so far? How do you think, because like as from 2018, you must have seen it evolving just in front of your eyes. How do you, what are your impressions about its evolution, and how do you think it can be useful for India?
Sir, if you look at the evolution, sir, the most important one is that it has gone up to the leaders summit level, where the prime ministers or the heads of state of the four countries have come together. Sir, it has also clearly expressed its principles of free and open Indo-Pacific and a rules-based world order. Sir, also the Malabar exercise was also conducted among the four countries, the maritime naval exercise. So, sir, this is also important. And next, the working groups were also constituted immediately after COVID on the supply chain of
What is
COVID.
one thing that you think India can achieve from this?
So the most important thing would be to balance China that India can achieve, especially in the Indo-Pacific or the Indian Ocean region in our own neighborhood that we can achieve through the Quads.
Okay. See, again, you may have done some homework on US, Europe, India, China, neighboring, but coming to a different aspect, India and Africa.
Yes.
What do you think India's diplomatic footprints in this region are? Are we doing the right thing? Or if not, what are we supposed to do?
Sir, from what limited knowledge I have, sir, we are along with Japan, we have an Asia-Africa growth corridor in Africa. So also we are working to promote our information technology exports to Africa, pharmaceutical exports, and sir, also large diaspora from the Indian origin is present in Africa, given our colonial ties also, sir. So, sir, India has a good reputation and a good goodwill among the African countries. Sir, going forward, sir, we can, from what I have read, we can improve our diplomatic presence in the terms of number of embassies that we have in the 54 African countries. We can improve on that. And sir, also as part of a G20, we are working as the voice of Global South. So we can take forward the agenda of African countries on the multilateral platforms also from our own initiative.
It's good, but the role of Japan is minuscule. We don't have to mention that. India has a very strong diplomatic presence and outreach in Africa. One is people-to-people contact. That is something that India has worked for a very long time. So many students from Africa have gone to India for higher education. We have invested in skill developments. We have invested in lines of credit projects. Lot of Africans come to India for tourism, medical tourism purposes. And culturally, there is a lot of connect, and there is an organic connection between India and Africa, and we have invested in it. But of course, not to the optimum level. We need to invest more. But more than Japan, we are a very big player here. Of course, we can't match China, but we are a very big player here. We are doing so many things here to come up with a lot of more projects in this region. These are some things that may come up because people, if there is one IFS officer who has served in sorry, who has served in Africa, then he may definitely ask. These are the areas of opportunities for India: Africa, Latin America, Central Asian countries. This drives India's export growth, trade growth, tourism growth, medical tourism growth. Technology can come from West, technology but rest. These are the fertile lands where India can have opportunities. So these are lands of opportunities with the diaspora, with a lot of cultural connect and a lot of people-to-people contacts.
Yes.
Okay, then what again, like coming to trade, tourism, technology. You are an engineer, so what kind of technologies can India sourced from the West, and how can diplomacy help India? So, end of the day, what diplomacy is, this is within parenthesis, I'm telling you, diplomacy is not independent from what happens in India. Diplomacy should help India in its developmental aspirations. Okay, so that is the crux of diplomacy. So, given that context, I am asking you this question: what are the technologies that India can bring from the world, and that can help India in its developmental aspirations?
Sir, India looks forward to bringing technologies like 3D printing or semiconductor manufacturing within India, or even technologies of 5G and Internet of.
Your voice is breaking. Your voice
I'm
is
sorry.
breaking, Manan.
I'm sorry. Sir, is it fine now?
It's better now. Can you repeat it?
Yes, sir. Sir, India looks forward to bringing technologies like the semiconductor manufacturing of 3D printing,
Hmm.
Internet of Things, uh, especially
Hmm.
artificial intelligence, sir, and sir, cloud computing. So these are the technologies, sir, and even the Ministry of External Affairs has set up a new and emerging strategic technologies division within the MEA, so as to focus more on technological collaboration, sir.
Okay, it's a good one, but I don't know whether 3D printing should be placed above. But of course, like chips or anything related to semiconductors, electronic vehicles, so artificial intelligence, and also related to food security, all these things,
Yes.
which can help India develop is, and then it can be there. Okay, fine. Then coming to. Like like you must be aware that India has 140 plus embassies and 60 posts. Posts are basically consulates around the world, and most of it is in Africa, Latin America, and in Central Asian countries. So, and you are required to choose a language when you choose for foreign service. When you are appointed as a foreign service officer, what language would you choose, and what are the reasons behind it?
Sir, I would like to choose the Chinese language as the compulsory foreign language. So this is because not just because China would be one of our most important players as far as India is concerned in the global space for the next 2 or 3 decades, but also because I would like to uh, read and study also about China. So from the books that I've read, Mr. Sham Saran writes, and even Mr. Vijay Gokhale in his book, that they write that we have not yet studied China completely, and their strategic thinking is something we need to know about. So I would like to contribute in that country.
Good. It's a good answer. This would be the number one answer and the number one requirement. Actually the truth. It's the truth that we need a lot of Chinese specialists, if and we, of course, but it is one country with you always can't be in China. You have to diversify,
Yes.
but Chinese the specialists are required, and we need a lot of people who can speak Chinese. Okay, so then coming to the World Cup football, whom do you
Yes.
think are the diplomatic winners of this game?
Sir, I think the number one winner would be, of course, Qatar, the host, and sir, second, the country of Morocco, which reached the stages of the World Cup, which was quite unprecedented for an African country to reach there. So, sir, I think these two, apart from, of course, Argentina, their soft power and their economy would definitely be boosted, but the top two would be Qatar and Morocco.
Okay, good. But I was asking this question to somebody else who gave added Japan as one, because he said the whole world could see how neat and clean they are. How they can keep their place well and neat. This is, I agree. Japan could be one. And if I have to add one more, Palestine. If you see the kind of support the Arab world, the people in the watching the match gave for free Palestine was enormous. So that is something, like it came from the masses, and at last it is also the Arab people. Some people gave a clear voice that the freedom is not something that they have to they really It is a voice, or it's a signal to their leaders saying that this is something that they really need. Freedom is something is they are entitled for. So I think Arab people, Palestine, Japan can be added to the answer. That is what. And so okay. The International Year of Millets.
Yes.
Why do you think we are wasting so much money into it, promoting it and all? Does it is really matter? Do we millets is something that nobody really is focused on. MNCs don't focus on. It is something that people in cities don't bother about. So the 2023 has been declared as an International Year of Millet, and India has been investing a lot in it. What is your opinion about it?
I think because of the very reasons that MNCs are not focused upon this, I think that this makes it all the more important for India to promote the International Year of Millets. So given the benefits, not just in terms of nutrition and the health benefits, but also because also the benefits to small and marginal farmers. It is drought resistant. It is less resource consuming. So therefore, it is very important for India to promote millets.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you were very good. I should be very, honest. This was we're very confident. We're very good. And when it comes to the analytical part, you can brush up a little bit. People will, since you have an IIT background and have said that your interest is international relations, and I think you can brush up the analytical part and expand it a more. But otherwise, I think you did very well. So
Thank you.
if you have any questions, you can ask. 2-3 minutes we have more, and we can definitely use it for more questions from your side.
Yes, sir. Sir, since you refer to the Palestine issue, sir, if you can
Mhm.
just give me a brief on if any question is there on way forward. Apart from the two-state solution, sir, is there any practical or implementable solution in the short term or the medium term?
Yeah, see, number one, nobody will ask you for a solution on Palestine issue. That is, we are a player there. But apart from two-state solution, I don't see any. It can be a one state or it can be a two-state. You can't send all the people out. Either they will be absorbed inside Israel and everybody will become an Israeli citizen. That is a one-state solution,
Yes,
or it is a two-state solution. So two-state solution is good for everyone, but there are so much of dynamics involved in it. But I don't think we don't have to delve deep into the solutions, but how we balance the relations is more important. In the heart of though after the Abraham Accord, a lot of Arab countries have signed peace agreement with Israel, but still, if you see from this World Cup itself is an example. So if you see the people of the Arab world, they are not comfortable with a Palestine which is occupied in the 21st century. So, end of the day, there has to be a Palestine state, and that is the only solution that I can see. Or the other solution is a one-state solution, which I don't think anybody is interested in, neither the Palestinians nor the Israelis. There cannot be at least to my mind, there are three scenarios. One is a two-state solution, one is a one-state solution, and the third is the status quo. Status quo is really painful. One-state solution may not be a thing that is liked by either because of the population growth in Palestine and all people, Israelis themselves will not offer it. And a two-state solution is something which is more pragmatic, but people are waiting for negotiations, what best they can gain out of it. And of course, there is no parity between the strength of Israel combined with US and the Palestine with combined with Arab states. Most of it is ruled by autocrats, and it doesn't voice the opinion of the people. So but the more important thing is how India balances its relations between these two. That is what, as practitioners of diplomacy, we are into. And here we say that so far we have done a very good job. Some people will say that we are suboptimal level. We are operating at suboptimal level. But if you see, we have a very strategic relationship with Israel. At the same time, we have always supported historically we have supported Palestine to become an independent state. So far we have, and even if Prime Minister visited Palestine, probably he was the first Prime Minister of India to visit Palestine in 2017. In fact, I was there as liaison officer, chief liaison officer at that time in Palestine to organize this visit. But the thing is, how well we continue to balance this relationship is very important. This is because the Arab world, not the Arab leaders, the Arab world perceives these things to see how friendly, because we have a very large interest with the Arab world, be it energy security, diaspora, so many things, investments, so many things. So we have to balance this relationship and continue to have a very balanced approach. And we have to be good at it. We have invested a lot of money in projects in Palestine through grants. We have to continue to do that so people will get employment and people. And of course, the bigger powers are more engaged in bringing a deal. Let them try, let them do. But from a practitioner's point of view, we have to see how well we balance Israel and Palestine's relationship between these two parts.
Sir, if I may ask one more question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, is the Russia-China axis that is currently developing and the growing proximity between the two countries, sir, how would you see that impact of this on India?
See, end of the day, we have to have a functional relationship with China. We have a relationship with always a good relationship with Russia, but China, when it comes, it's we have to have a relationship. It's a very large neighbor in our north, and it is like what to say, it is indispensable. We have to develop that kind of a relationship. India has tried a lot during the past 10 years, and with Dr. Jaishankar as the external affairs minister and with Prime Minister Modi, we have tried a lot. But also we have to, we can't say that we tried and we left it. Leave the Russia and China axis. But as a bilateral relation, we have to have better relations with China. It is very important for our developmental aspirations. We can't waste our resources in conflicts. So you have to minimize that impact. So far, what we have been doing is okay, but we have to strive for harder. But it's on the time, place also matters. Who rules where? What kind of leadership changes that happens? What are the dynamics? How it evolves? How we as a country become more stronger, so that there is an automatic respect for us. So we are working on it on several platforms and several verticals. So for me as a practitioner, this bilateral relationship is much more important than how a China and Russia axis will evolve. I don't think that as a great threat at all. For me, this is something that I see as a greater, where I will emphasize much more. Where we will, like, when, as if you see, we are almost a 3 trillion economy now. If we become a 10 trillion economy, our whole of our, the way, the image India has will completely be transformed. So what we invest on ourselves, how we invest on our growth is more important than how you depend. No country is going to come to you. That is the bottom line of diplomacy. No country is going to come to you to save you, be it US or Russia. You have to be on your own. This is all like alliances, collaboration, minilateralism, forums. Everything is okay, but you are on your own. And a country of India's size, you can't afford any third country to deal with your problem. You have to deal with your problem on yourself. I hope I gave you some insight. In a short time, I can't give you a big lecture on foreign policy, but we as a country have to manage our issues and challenges ourselves. This is the bottom line. And we have to be equipped to do that. For that, we have to be a very strong economy, and we have to focus on our developmental priorities. If I have to say, in few lines, this is the thing that I can say.
And just the last question, sir. Can you
please
point out some what kind of online sources or newspapers or websites?
This is what I was about to say. See, before you go to any any views. These are all newspapers. All these are like, Suhasini Haidar writing something. This is all good. We can go and we can have a, before that, you should see all the speeches of Dr. Jaishankar. It will give a conviction of why we do what we do. Like suppose Russia and Ukraine war. As I said, all our developmental, all our diplomacy finally should end in helping the developmental aspirations of our people. So if it is not there, then there is no use of any diplomacy, any missions and other things. So if you see his speeches, you will know that if we take a decision, contemporary, I am talking about contemporary diplomacy. So, why we are doing this, how we are doing this, there are, wherever he goes to the US, he gives a speech. He tries to reach out, sorry, he tries to reach out to people as much as possible. So you have to go to understand each and every point is a very fine point, because we are very lucky that you have a practitioner who is also the external affairs minister. So that will actually give you the conviction why we are doing. Sometimes many of your answers may be based on things you read, and you are trying to, just like you did in the mains, you are trying to repeat it in a paraphrased manner. But when you see those speeches, you will have that conviction. When you speak with conviction, it is very different than narrating an analysis or a view based on a news item that you read. You have to have that conviction before you say that. Then you will actually, people can see it from your eyes that, oh, this person means what he says. That is very important. Many people you see, the moment you ask a question, they will be ready with the answer. That means they have prepared it and have it in their mind. That is, they are reading something and trying to repeat it, which is not what you see in an interview or what you expect in an interview. You see how a person can think, how a person can analyze things, and it should be organic. You should connect all the facts and figures that you have in your mind to give an analysis automatically. So that is very important. So Dr. Jaishankar's speech is one thing, and any retired diplomat, who writes, I'm not biased here, but why I am saying is these are all practitioners. Somebody who was India's head in WTO, he comes and writes something on WTO, you will know a practitioner's point of view. So MES website has a section called Distinguished Lectures by Retired Diplomats. This is a very good source, because it, like climate change, you have somebody who is negotiating climate change, he will come and talk about climate change. But unfortunately, all the speeches are not in text format. So, but at least 50% which says read more, you can see the complete text. The retired diplomat has given the text to MEA and they have posted it there. In the front page of MEA's website, you will have a link of distinguished lecture series. And the third thing is, like you said, Gokhale sir, or for that matter, Sham sir, and their views are really good. So if you see that how to counter China with Sham Saran's book and his speeches, you will know you don't have to match China. So this is something that he will clearly articulate on. So this, he also writes so many columns. Again, Sham Saran's articles on climate change is very good. So this will really help you to you will get insights on how how India formulates its policies. So retired diplomats are a great source. So many people are into this job and into this profession of speaking in TV and writing articles and columns in newspapers. This is a good source. Of course, Suhasini Haidar and others, they collate everything and then package it and give it. This is okay, but before that, you should go to the practitioner's point of view, which will give you the conviction why India is doing what it is doing. Okay. So
Thank you,
best
sir.
wishes. You were very good. You just develop. You are just starting to prepare for your interview. You are already well prepared, but have that confidence. You are very confident, but have that confidence and brush up the analysis part wherever you have to give an analysis. And if you are very good at one subject, just don't expand one single point. You can say 1, 2, 3 and keep doing it, because one single point, after you say, the people who are listening from the other end know that, okay, he knows this point. If you expand that meaning that means that you may not have 2, 3, 4 points. But if you actually have 2, 3, 4 points, you should use it quickly before they switch to the other question, you have to say, like millets, you said, very good, no? Like, it is climate resilient, it helps our some small farmers, it helps in our food security. So like quickly you have to go, that will tell them that, okay, you are aware of all these diverse points, and quickly you can, like, half a, like 10 seconds each, you can brief and you can go. If you only one point, if you keep elaborating, they will think that you know only one point about it. So it's, when you're strong at something, try to say one, two, three, four, and keep going on with that. That will help you.
Right. Thank you so
Best
much, sir.
wishes. Best
Thank you.
wishes. Hope to see you among the IIT fraternity. Sorry, I am among the IFS fraternity.
Thank you. Definitely.
Best wishes.